My ayahuasca experience in Mexico. What is up, YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. Jess Nicole here. If you are new to my channel, my name is Jessica, and on this channel we do fitness, we do fashion, we do all things lifestyle, especially today's video. Today's video is going to be my ayahuasca experience. I am currently in Bacalar, Mexico. I am here for my very first ayahuasca ceremony experience. I got here yesterday and I have just been exploring Bacalar. This is my first time in this city and it is so beautiful. It is so historic. It is very old, timely. I don't know what's the nice way to say it, but it is so beautiful here. Let me show you guys this beautiful rooftop that we got here. So bright out here. But you can see we got some nature. I've got a hot tub. You can see the lagoon all the way back here. My room is like this beautiful, I don't know what to call it, this beautiful, anyways. So yeah, this is my very first time ever taking ayahuasca. I have been cleansing for the last 6 to 7 days. You're supposed to do it at least 3 days minimum, but I've been doing it for about 7 days. So right now it is like 10:30 in Bacalar. We are about to go eat breakfast and go to the cenote. I have absolutely no makeup on, so please excuse me. It is so hot in Mexico, which I love, but because it's so hot, I feel no need to even put makeup on. So I am just all natural out here. Later on is the ayahuasca experience at 5 o'clock, so I will try to get some more content. This is my first time, so I am feeling a little bit anxious. But more than anything, I am very grateful and very excited to do this because I know that something good is going to come out of it. I recently learned about this probably not even a month ago, and I just felt called to come and do this and to experience this. I feel like this is what I need. This is what is going to make me a better me. So I am super duper excited to do this. If you are new to my channel, make sure you go ahead and follow me on Instagram at the Jess Nicole, at Jess Right Fitness. And yeah, on to explore Bacalar. So this is what the temple looked like at Akalki. It is down this dirt road in the middle of a jungle. It is so beautiful and it's shaped like a mushroom. This is where the ceremony was held. This is on the 2nd floor. This is the room that everything happened at, and you can see there's offerings that we were supposed to bring, you know, fruit, flowers, candles, whatever you want to offer. And they really emphasize sharing. We share everything during our ceremony. The room was on the 2nd floor of the temple, so from there's this balcony where you can see over the jungle and you can see all the trees. You can hear all of the birds. There's a tree house over there. The temple went up to about 6 stories high, and at the very top is this view. You can see over the entire jungle. You can see the lagoon of Bacalar, and in the center of the temple at the very top was this beautiful crystal structure. It was, I think, a clear quartz, and I believe there was like a small amethyst on there and a few other crystals. So this place is very spiritual, very holistic, and they really know what they're doing when it comes to energy. Where do I even begin? I actually have some questions that I'm going to answer. I asked people on Instagram some questions that you guys would want to know about my ayahuasca experience. But before I even get into the questions, I want to just talk freely about my personal experience. So my experience was in Bacalar, Mexico. I had actually seen a friend post something on Instagram on her story, and it was a TikTok of this woman talking about her experience with ayahuasca. And from there, I kind of just started looking more into it. And I actually had another friend who had done it before, so I reached out to her and asked her some information on it, and she gave me information. 3 weeks later, lo and behold, I was on a plane on my way to Bacalar, Mexico to do ayahuasca. Those of you who do not know what ayahuasca is a 100% plant-derived medicine. I don't know how much truth there is to it, but one thing that I did learn is that ayahuasca is not natural to Earth. It was apparently planted here by extraterrestrials hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago, and it was put on this earth, on this planet, for us humans, us vessels,
to better ourselves. So ayahuasca has a ton of healing properties. It's been used in indigenous cultures for decades. It heals emotional traumas, it heals physical problems, it's really no limits to what ayahuasca can do. So I'm gonna just tell you guys my experience, because I know every location, every retreat, every country is different. From what I know, I believe ayahuasca is like a South American ritual thing. So there's actually a bunch of retreats all over the world. They happen in Costa Rica, in Peru, Brazil, Mexico, India, you name it. It just happens to be that the one that I was doing was going to be in Mexico. In order to prepare for ayahuasca, you are supposed to follow a very strict diet. If you've never done ayahuasca, it's very common that you're going to purge, you're gonna throw up, you might even shit yourself. I didn't do that, but I thought the diet was just so that you could get all the toxins out of your body so that you won't be throwing up so much. But that's not necessarily the case. You want to follow the diet when it comes to ayahuasca, because having a clean vessel, having a clean body is gonna help you to connect deeper with the medicine. So the ceremony that I did, they gave you 3 shots, and you don't have to take all 3 by any means. It's actually not even recommended to take all 3. Some people can connect with the medicine with just 1. Some people need 2. And if you're not feeling it by 2, then they recommend that you take the 3rd. I only did 2 my entire experience. A minimum of 3 days, at least 3 to 7 days, you want to be following this diet. And this diet consists of no sugar, no alcohol, no salt, no fatty foods, no oils, no meat, no fish, none of that. Really anything that's bad for you, they don't want you to have it. They don't want you to have any processed foods, any refined sugars, anything like that. So what I did to prepare was I did a 3-day juice cleanse, but it actually ended up being like 4 days. So the first day I just ate vegetables and fruits, and I had some juices. And then the following 3 days I did just straight juice, just cucumber juice, apple juice, blackberry juice. I literally just took fruits and vegetables and juiced them and did a juice cleanse. And then following up into the ceremony, I was still eating clean. So the day of the ceremony, they had us meet there at the temple at 5 o'clock. Akalki was the name of the retreat that it was held at. You really just spend the first 2 hours kind of getting to know everyone, getting to know the place, walking around, and just sightseeing really. Before we started the ceremony, you have to meet with the shaman, and he just kind of introduced himself to you and asked, you know, where are you from? What is your reason behind doing ayahuasca? My personal reason for doing ayahuasca was because I wanted to connect deeper with my higher self. I have been feeling like I was just missing some puzzle pieces when it came to my spiritual journey, and I felt like there's just something in me that just was not connecting. And when I had learned about ayahuasca and how it heals you and how it connects you deeper to the divine and to your ancestors, it called on to me from there. I knew this was something that I had to do in order to better myself. And I told him that. And you know, he just really gets to know you before the ceremony starts. And so going into the ceremony, we actually sat down. Here, I took a clip of the girl next to me having this done to her. They have you do, it's another plant medicine, and it's called repe or jepe. It's basically a tobacco snuff. I don't know if they make you do that for every ceremony when you do ayahuasca, but it's another plant medicine, and they just recommend that you do it because apparently it helps increase the effects of ayahuasca. It helps you connect more with the medicine. And when I tell you guys, the first day I did this, I puked. And I later learned that I was puking because I had a lot of spiritual blockages, a lot of energetic blockages. The first day I did it, it was pure torture. So someone's gonna sit in front of you, and they have this little instrument where I think he blew it out of his mouth. But anyways, the instrument is up one of my nostrils, and he basically goes, and the repe, the plant medicine, sits right there on your nose, and it burns for a whole like 15 to 20 seconds. It just feels so bad. But after that, it kind of dies down a little bit. And from there, my body just felt very tingly. I felt like I definitely just took a drug of some sort. Like for me, I felt nauseous. A lot of other people don't feel like that, but my first time ever doing it, I felt nauseous. I say that because the second day I did it, I did not feel nauseous. So he does one nostril, and then he does the next nostril, and then they tell you to blow out and to just breathe through your nose. So I did that, and I felt like complete and utter. I literally, from there, I threw up, and I just had to lay down. One thing I learned about me personally doing ayahuasca is that I cannot do ayahuasca and sit up. I have to lay down. They recommend You bring, you know, like a yoga mat or just whatever you're comfortable with. Some people had air mattresses, some people had yoga mats, they had sleeping bags. All I had was my yoga mat, a blanket, and a little pillow. And I definitely learned my lesson, because the next time I do it, I will not do it with that, because my back was hurting by the end of the night. We did the tobacco snuff in the nose. I felt sick. I laid down. I felt super duper nauseous. So from there, it's like 30 minutes, because they're doing everybody, like they go to the next person, they put it up their nose and blah, blah, blah. And then they also gave us like this floral tea. I don't know what the tea was, but it was just a tea. It was like a, you know, a herbal tea. And come to find out, the herbal tea also had some effect in my nausea. It actually is supposed to, like, I'm not sure exactly what it's supposed to do, but it definitely increased my nausea and it made me even more sick as well. So I was drinking the tea, puking. Mind you, at this point, I have not even taken the ayahuasca. We took the ayahuasca and they have us do it all together. So everyone goes and gets their cup and we all just kind of sit down, and the shaman prays over it. He says his affirmations over it. He blesses the medicine, and then we all drink it. So I took my shot of ayahuasca. Mind you, with taking ayahuasca, you're not supposed to drink water afterwards, which I didn't know that. If I had known that, I would have drank way more water before, because I ended up very dehydrated throughout the night. But I took my one shot of ayahuasca. Immediately I laid down, because anytime I sat up, I could just feel that I was going to purge. I was going to throw up, that I was going to get sick. Initially, for the first shot, I could feel that I wasn't connecting with just one shot. And I kind of did that, especially since it was my first time doing it. So I did the first shot, I laid down, I just felt super nauseous. I closed my eyes. That's one of the things they recommend, is that you close your eyes, because otherwise how are you going to see visions? So I closed my eyes, and from what I remember, I don't remember having any visions my first shot. So 30 minutes later, they call for the second shot. I take the second shot and I lay back down, and that was it for me for the night. It's crazy, because ayahuasca didn't make me purge until the very end.
When I took the second shot, I laid down, and that was when I started to
see glimpses of vision. The shot is that your ayahuasca trip can happen in 3 different ways. It can be very visual, and of course you'll see visions, which a lot of people do see. You can see things like snakes, you can see things from your past, just whatever, really, it's all personal. Or it can affect you in the second way, which was very physical. You'll feel everything on your body. You'll feel your body feeling more. If you have joint problems or knee problems or underlying like lower back pain, you will feel it so much more deeper when you're on ayahuasca, because ayahuasca truly heals you from the inside out. You may feel that pain in your knee a little bit stronger while you're on ayahuasca. And the third way, I don't remember what it was. So I do apologize for that. When I closed my eyes, I would see glimpses of visions. There was nothing that really resonated with me. It wasn't anything like a long vision. It wasn't like a dream or anything. And if you close your eyes for even 1 second, the entire vision would be gone and you'd be starting from complete scratch.
So for the first shot, I just laid back and closed my eyes and let the medicine do what it was going to do. And for my very first night,
I did not surrender to the medicine the way that I should have, and that probably is why I don't have this crazy story to tell you for my first day. The thing about ayahuasca is that it makes you face your biggest traumas. It makes you face things that you didn't even know you had. I did have a few things come up that were pretty personal to me, but I do have one that
I don't mind
sharing.
And for the next few minutes, my mic just started messing up, so I'm just going to do a voiceover of what I was talking about. So the ceremony lasted about 6 to 7 hours, and for the first 6 to 7 hours, I really didn't have any traumatic things come up, but it was towards the end when everyone was sharing their stories, because that's one thing we do at the end of the ceremony is everyone talks about what they felt, what they experienced, and while people were doing that, I wasn't even paying attention. I was still going through my ayahuasca trip. And in that trip came up emotions about my childhood best friend who had passed about 6 or 7 years ago.
And I didn't know that I ever still felt a guilt or any kind of heartbreak or any heartache around her death. So we were best friends from elementary school. All of elementary school into middle school, we kind of started to fall out. In high school, we definitely were not really cool, but our families were always still very cool.
Our families were always still very cool with each other, and she passed a few years after we had graduated high school. At that moment, we were not very close.
It was sad and I shed a tear or two, but it wasn't like it was like my best friend at that time, so it didn't really like hurt me super bad. But it always was kind of in the back of my head that I felt guilty, because when we were kids and we were growing up, I was really mean to her. I was really a bossy ass little girl. Like, she was the sweetest little girl in the entire world, and I used to boss her around. And I always felt like, even when we were in high school, when she was still alive, I felt like I never had closure with her. I never got to tell her that I'm sorry and that I've grown up and that I don't know why I was like that as a little girl. I say all that to say that I didn't know that I was holding on to that. Like, when I think of her, I don't cry. I feel sad because I feel like I never got to have closure with her. But when it came up in my ayahuasca, I was sobbing, and it was uncontrollably. It was like I was crying, and I would be like, okay, like, get serious. You've dealt with this before. And the ayahuasca was like, you're gonna cry it all out. And I just kept crying and crying and crying. And before I knew it, I vomited. Like, I did not vomit the entire night, other than when I took the tobacco snuff. But all throughout the ayahuasca trip, I did not vomit until the very end, when I started thinking about this. And I was puking. And when I finished, like, clicked in my head that ayahuasca just cleansed that for me. It gave me the closure that I didn't even know I needed. It cleansed those feelings for me. It cleansed my soul, in a way, from this guilt that I have found subconsciously about this friend who I never had closure with before she passed. There was a few other things that came up that were pretty personal to me that I don't really want to talk about on YouTube, but it was a really humbling experience, because I went into ayahuasca thinking that I have, like, what issues do I really have? Like, I don't have, like, a deadbeat parent, or I never had, like, anything traumatic happen to me growing up. At least I didn't think that I did. And ayahuasca will really humble you, make you realize, like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. It forces you to literally sit with your emotions and to sit with your heart and your soul and just feel everything. So that was really my ayahuasca experience. My ayahuasca experience wasn't so visual as it was more emotional. It was like every feeling I've ever felt, I was feeling it times a million. Like, little things that you'll think about that, you might feel sad about, but you don't really cry about anymore. Ayahuasca forces you to sit there and cry it out and feel every emotion about it. So they give you fruit at the very end, because the fruit kind of helps you trip and just to kind of get back to feeling sober and feeling normal. So we ate fruit, and I kind of just shared my experience with the people around me and how it affected me and how it affected them, and that was really it.
What is up, YouTube? I have just finished my very first ayahuasca experience. It is like 7:30 in the morning. We stayed up all night. I'm kind of just coming down. It was a lot. I definitely plan to go more in depth once I have sat down and processed it all, but I wanted to at least vlog what I look like right after. I cried and I threw up quite a bit. It was very nauseating. The medicine was very nauseating. I am just grateful to be here. I'm grateful to have experienced this. We are doing it again tonight, so round 2. And now tonight I know what to expect, so I am feeling even better about it, because I was very anxious about this. So yeah.
After that, I went home, I took a shower, I laid down, I napped for like 3 hours, because I did a 2-day ceremony. Not everyone does the 2-day ceremony. There's actually some retreats that do like 4 days in a row, which is a lot, but the one that I went to was only 2 days. And so I knew I had to do it again that night. Took a nap, woke up, ate fruit, and then after 1 p.m. you're not supposed to eat anything. You're supposed to fast the next ceremony. So going into the next ceremony was basically the same thing. We got there.
I am back at the Ayahuasca Center. The Holistic Center is day 2 of my ayahuasca experience. After today, we are doing DMT with the shaman, which is you just smoke DMT, and that's really all I know. I will give you a better update when I actually do it. But here I am for day 2. I am feeling a lot better since I know what to expect. And yeah, I am excited to be here. I'm grateful to be here. I'm excited to heal my traumas. I'm excited to see what comes up and what I purge, what needs to be cleansed in my body. I am so excited, so grateful to be working on myself. And I am so glad to be vlogging this, not only for you guys, but for me to look back on. So yeah,
I got there and exact same rituals. We did the tobacco snuff, and the second day it did not bother me nearly as much, and I was so proud of myself because I wasn't even going to do it to begin with because it made me feel so sick and nauseous the first day. But I ended up doing it, and it really actually felt good the second time. It felt like it was an enlightening experience, and I'm so proud of myself for doing it. So I did the tobacco snuff, and of course it burned when I first did it, but after that it didn't make me nauseous at all. I was able to sit up. I didn't have to force myself to lay down. I was able to just sit up and just keep breathing and remind myself to just breathe, and I was good. And I actually had talked to the shaman previously before the ceremony had started because I was talking to one of the other guys. Sorry about that, my camera died. But I was talking about this pill. So yeah, I was talking to this other couple and they were telling me about a pill that they were given. And one of the guys actually said that in the middle of the ayahuasca ceremony that one of the leaders came up to him and said, someone sent this for you and they want you to take it. And he said he took it, and that's when his trip just went, he connected way deeper. So I had actually talked to the shaman about it, and he was telling me about it, and he was saying that he gives the pill typically to men because men usually have a problem connecting with the medicine. Women are more emotional, so it's easier for women to connect. But he was like, yeah, I'll give you the pill if you want it. So I was like, yeah, I want it. So for the second ceremony, did the tobacco snuff, easy peasy, felt great afterwards. And then the shaman gave me the pill. He told me I'm supposed to take the pill first with water, and then I'll take the ayahuasca after. So I did it in that order. And I puked. 2 minutes after taking the pill, taking the ayahuasca, I puked. So I already knew like I wasn't gonna connect because I literally just puked everything that I'm supposed to connect to. So the first 30 minutes of the second ceremony, I was just kind of laying there, just kind of waiting for them to call the second shot because I just knew that I wasn't gonna connect on that first shot. So 30 minutes later, they called for the second shot, and I took the second shot. And in the second shot, I really got to feel how the ayahuasca affected me. And this time it was far more physical on my body, especially because I knew what to expect. So I had just laid back, I closed my eyes, and I just really let the medicine take over and surrender to the medicine. And I will say my second ceremony, I didn't cry. And other than me puking the first time, I didn't really puke either. So actually when I took the second shot, I was telling one of the leaders that it made me puke, and she was just telling me that, you know, sometimes that happens. You just have to put your attention into the medicine. So before you take it, just talk to the medicine, say, you know, we're in this together. We are receiving this with love. Put your intentions into it, say an affirmation over it. So I did that, and that really helped. So anytime I felt the need to puke, I kind of just kept telling myself, like, you are safe, you're good, you are a being of love and light. This is to heal you. This is a good thing for you. Surrender to it. Just let it be. And that really helped me keep it down. So the second shot I was able to keep down completely. I don't think I ended up throwing up until the very end. Everyone has their own experience, but for me personally, I feel like ayahuasca is truly like a cleansing medicine in the sense of if you don't it out, you're at least gonna puke it out. So the second ceremony, I really didn't have any emotional traumas that came up or anything that made me cry or anything like that, but I did end up puking towards the end of the ceremony, and I feel like that was just it cleansing my body. Yeah, my second ceremony, I'm not even gonna like hold you guys, was really kind of a disappointment just because I went into it thinking that like since I had, you know, my first ceremony, I know what to expect and I expect to connect even deeper. I didn't. But that was probably my fault because they even tell you to release all your expectations and just surrender. And me being a Virgo and having to have control over everything, it is so hard for me to just let go and surrender. My second ceremony was really a whop. I didn't feel much of it. And yeah, I mean, we went home and from there we were done. But we do DMT the following morning after. So we went home, took a shower, took a nap, woke up, and then we went back to the temple to do the DMT. So DMT is the plant medicine as well. It's something completely natural. It's something that we as humans produce naturally anyways. The shaman was saying that as when women give birth, we produce DMT. When you're born, you produce DMT. When you die, you produce DMT. Just to give you a few examples that it is something that we already naturally have. So I couldn't really tell you too much about it other than that. But the shaman gave us DMT, and it's really just a way to close out your practice. And DMT is very, very visual.
What is up, YouTube? I have just closed out the ceremony, ayahuasca day 2. We did oh, what is that? Oh my god, okay. Oh shit, I don't know what that is. That's a fruit, I think. We did day 2 of the ceremony last night, and this morning we closed it out by smoking Changa, also known as DMT. Wow, this has been such a magical experience. I can't wait to go home and sit down and actually process this and to really talk about how I feel and everything that I went through and everything that I saw, everything that I felt, because this is nothing like I've ever done before. The ayahuasca was nothing like I've ever felt before, and the DMT was like no drug I've ever done before, which is really not a drug, it's a plant medicine. But I am just so grateful to be here. I am walking through the jungle just vlogging and exploring and basking in my gratitude, and this is the most magical place in the entire world, and I cannot wait to come back. And yeah, I'm feeling so good, so high frequency, so high vibrational. I am so excited to see what this will bring me. I've heard that the ayahuasca experience is not necessarily more about what you feel during the medicine, but more so about the life changes that take place, the shifts that happen in your life, the shifts that happen in your reality after the medicine. So I am super excited to elevate my life. And yeah.
He puts it into literally like this crack pipe, and he puts it in front of you and he lights it for you, and you just inhale it, you hold it, and then you slowly exhale it out. And I did it 4 times. And when you're doing it, your eyes are closed. So on that 4th time, it was like a drug I had never done before in my entire life. It was fully visual. It was like I was seeing colors of orange, of red, of yellow, of blue, of purple, but also with like shapes. It was almost like I was seeing like a kaleidoscopic like visual. But other than that, that's all I really saw. I just saw colors, but I could feel myself just elevating. It literally felt like I was just like levitating into like the universe, like. And from there, when you're tripping on it, he starts singing to me and just chanting over me. And you know, you're allowed to do whatever, you just have to keep your eyes closed so that you can really feel it. And from there, I just remember I kept going like this and just rubbing all over my body, because it truly feels so euphoric, so much like, I want to say like ecstasy, but like not really like ecstasy, but it just feels good to just rub your body, to just move, to just so yeah, that was my experience with the DMT, and that was my ayahuasca experience in Mexico. So from here, I'm going to answer some questions that were asked on my Instagram. I know my explanation is probably not the most exciting, especially because I don't feel like I had the most interesting trip, but it was my own personal experience. And a lot of times they tell you that it's not so much the ayahuasca experience that matters, it's more so like the shifts that come after. So I know one girl that did it, and she said, you know, she didn't throw up, she didn't cry, it was just whatever. But after she did ayahuasca, from there, her life completely changed. She got divorced, she moved across the country. And ayahuasca is just, it really elevates your entire soul, your entire frequency. And I can honestly say that since I've done it, I truly feel like I have changed. I couldn't tell you exactly how. I just know that I'm not the same Jessica I was when I went to Mexico. I love that for me. Getting into some of the questions that I received about my ayahuasca experience, which a lot of them I kind of already answered. So a lot of people asked me, how was the DMT? What was the DMT like? And I kind of already answered that. 10 out of 10 recommend. It's like, I honestly even asked if like, can I take some of that home? Like, am I able to do that like in my own free time? But it's not something you're supposed to use as like a recreational drug. It's really used for its medicinal properties. And you also don't want to just do it by yourself. It's something that, you know, you want to be around the right crowd, the right energy, and the right setting to do it. So the DMT was chef's kiss, so good, and my experience with that was wonderful. DMT was honestly my favorite part of it all, because it only lasted for like 20 minutes, and I wish it had lasted longer. What did I learn and take from this experience? So what I learned from it is really just to stop trying to be so in control and to really just let things flow, and to just surrender to life and surrender to the energetic flow of how things are going to go, because things are going to go how they're supposed to go at the end of the day. But that's what I learned mostly from it. This experience was like nothing I have ever done in my life ever before. And it was so magical. And everyone that asked me about it, I keep saying it's so magical because it was just like, I just know it was so good for me and so good for my soul and so good for my spirit. And it was everything that I really needed, but I didn't know that I needed. So that's what I took from that. Was it expensive, and how did I pick my temple? I guess it depends on what expensive is to you. For the actual experience, like the ayahuasca experience, I want to say it was like $169, and then so that was for each session. So Friday was $169. The DMT I think was only like $25, and then other than that, of course, you know, you had to get a flight to Mexico, stay at a hotel. That's all, you know, depending on where you want to stay. Like I said, I reached out to a friend who had given me all the information on it, and other than that, I didn't do my own research. I didn't go looking for an ayahuasca temple. I literally asked her and she told me about it, and I was like, bet. I watched her personal YouTube video on it and her experience, so I kind of knew what to expect as far as like what the place looked like and everything. So that's how I ended up picking my temple. Someone asked, what is the place like? So Bacalar in general is a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful city. Apparently it's not a huge tourist attraction internationally, but for Mexicans, it's a very big, like, touristy city. So it's basically like the Myrtle Beach of Mexico is what I was told. So Bacalar is so beautiful. The lagoon is so beautiful. And I'm actually so glad that it was in this city because I would never think to just go there. But as far as what the place was like the hotel and the temple and everything, it was so spiritual. It literally feels so magical. I can't even put into words how beautiful it is. Like the architecture is just so thoughtfully crafted. It's very holistic and it's very spiritual. They just knew what they were doing when they made this place because it's so beautiful. Someone said, how did you find the place and the proper people to guide you? So again, I went through my friend, and I'm so thankful that I had her because I actually heard that you're supposed to do it with like people you don't know because it's not good to go with people you know. There is some truth to that, but I'm glad that I went with her and the group of people that I did go with because it overall ended up being a great experience. And also, I don't speak Spanish, so I would have been completely lost if I didn't have her. Do you think this changed the way you think now, your perspectives and etc.? 100%. And I can't even really put into words how it changed me, but I can just feel the shifts in me. I can feel that it changed me, and it changed me for the better. And ayahuasca is honestly something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life because it has so many beneficial properties to it. Even though I didn't have the best first experience, I just know that every experience after that, it's like I'm gonna keep ascending and ascending and ascending, and that's what it's meant for. You know, it's like the gym. Like first you have one goal and you hit that goal, and then you have another goal. Like spirituality is limitless. So this definitely changed my perspective. How do you prepare for this experience mentally and physically? So I mentioned to you guys about the diet. That's the main thing for as far as the physical. You don't really have to do anything else. Meditation would definitely help. Meditation, yoga, clean diet. That's how you prepare for it physically. Mentally, again, meditation, journaling, and just taking time to be with yourself, to space yourself away from social media and everything that you think that life should be, because ayahuasca is going to pull you away from all of that anyways and show you what really matters to you as a person. Someone asked me, did it make you feel sick at all? And I definitely answered that through this video. Yeah, but it's all in your head. In a way, it's really all in your head. And that's one thing that I learned. The repe, like the tobacco snuff, that was inevitable. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. So for the first night, for me to be puking like that, and for my friend to tell me it's because I had all these energetic blockages, I completely believe that. I completely see that. And for me to do it the second night and to not get sick, I just know it was making me better. But the ayahuasca in general doesn't really make you feel sick. And it tastes kind of like cough medicine. It looks like cough medicine for sure. It's like a dark purplish, reddish looking color. It kind of looks like NyQuil. It doesn't taste good by any means, but it tastes bitter, but not like alcoholic bitter. It just tastes like a cough medicine, but with like a plant added to it. I don't even know if that makes sense, but that's how my taste buds perceived it. Okay, and then the last question was, did you see any cool visuals? Any cool visuals did you see during your trip? And the answer to that is sadly no. I didn't experience as many visuals as most people have. Like I said, I just had small glimpses of things. It was almost like I was just dreaming while still awake. Like my eyes were closed, but I would see like glimpses of, you know, me or just things in life. That's what I mean when I say it. Really, nothing really resonated with me. None of my visuals really felt like that means something. So I personally did not experience a whole lot of visuals during my trip, but I know a lot of people that have. If you guys want to know anything more about ayahuasca, please feel free to message me. I would be happy to share the temple and the people that I went with. I will most likely do this again. Yeah, like I said, I could see myself doing ayahuasca for the rest of my life. I would probably at least get, 2 ceremonies in every year, because ayahuasca is truly something so magical, and when you come back from it, you're just gonna want to do it again, because you just feel, I personally feel that I have elevated, that I am so much higher on a frequency now than I ever was before. It really just takes you to a place that no other drug on this earth can take you to. So yeah, that was my experience. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this video. I hope that this could provide you guys with a little bit more education and knowledge about how it was. Thank you so much for watching this video. I surely hope that you guys enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it for you. Be sure to hit the subscribe button. If you don't already, make sure you follow me on Instagram at the Jess Nicole, at Jess Right Fitness. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.